If God is perfect and needs nothing, what could you possibly offer that would make you enough? That question strikes at the heart of every seeker's unease. Across spiritual traditions, people try to prove themselves worthy by moral effort, ritual, or achievement, hoping that one day they might earn divine approval. But Ibn Arabi, the Andalusian philosopher-mystic, dismantled this entire pursuit. He argued that the human being is not a candidate for divine acceptance. You are already its embodiment. You are not trying to become enough. You are learning to see that you already are. This is not sentimentality. It is ontology. In Ibn Arabi's metaphysics, existence itself is divine self-disclosure, a mirror through which the infinite sees itself. Every being, including you, is a reflection of divine reality in limited form. Modern psychology circles a similar problem from another angle. Perfectionism, imposter syndrome, and chronic guilt all spring from the illusion that worth must be earned. Neuroscience adds that this illusion has measurable costs. Self-criticism chronically activates the brain's threat circuits, releasing cortisol, and training the mind to live as if constantly under judgment. Ibn Arabi's solution is not moral reassurance, but perceptual correction. If the divine created you as a mirror, the question is no longer how can I earn love, but how can I perceive what is already true. Modern identity is built on measurement. You are ranked, rated, and compared, grades, salaries, metrics, likes, followers. Every domain of life has become a scoreboard, because the human nervous system evolved for survival, not validation. It interprets every low score as existential threat. Psychology calls this conditional self-worth, the belief that one's value depends on success or approval. The brain encodes this through emotional association, reward when praised, pain when criticized. The result is performance-based identity, a self that exists only when achieving. Social comparison further amplifies the trap. Our brains evolved to calibrate status within groups. Social media now weaponizes that instinct, offering constant proof that someone else is doing better. Chronic comparison activates the amygdala hypothalamic stress loop. Cortisol spikes, and vigilance becomes constant. Self-evaluation becomes self-attack. Spiritually, this mindset projects itself onto God. The divine becomes a cosmic evaluator, one more authority to appease. Ibn Arabi's teaching pierces this illusion at its root. The feeling of lack, he says, is not a flaw in the soul but a distortion of perception. The soul itself is complete, because it is an image of divine completeness, a limited mirror through which the real contemplates its own possibilities. Ibn Arabi built one of history's most rigorous systems of metaphysics. His key concept is tajalli, divine self. Reality, in his view, is not a created object standing outside God, but a dynamic unfolding of divine attributes through form. Every phenomenon expresses some aspect of the divine. Names mercy, power, beauty, wisdom, justice. The human being, uniquely, is the comprehensive mirror that can reflect them all. This total reflectivity is what he called al-insan al-kamil, the complete human dot. Therefore, existence itself is divine communication. When you breathe, think, feel, or create, you participate in the infinite's act of self. Modern systems theory echoes this. Self-organizing intelligence pervades the universe. The part mirrors the pattern of the whole. Consciousness research describes awareness as integrated information, each conscious system revealing the nature of the total. Ibn Arabi reached the same conclusion 8 centuries earlier. The divine knows itself through you. From this framework, he derived 4 foundations for understanding why you are already enough. Existence itself is perfection in expression. Existence is the only reality, and all existence is divine. Every being is perfect in performing the role it was designed for. Light refracting through colored glass does not lose its purity. It expresses itself through a new hue. Your humanity doesn't obstruct divinity. It individualizes it. Psychologically, transformation begins with unconditional self-acceptance. Acceptance dampens the brain's error circuits, stabilizing perception. You cannot add to divinity by effort. You can only obscure or clarify your reflection. Awareness itself is the perfection of your form. The second foundation, the error of comparison. Diversity among souls is not hierarchy but multiplicity of divine expression. Each being manifests a distinct name: mercy, strength, beauty, wisdom, none superior, only different in function. A red glass and a blue glass both transmit sunlight. Their hues differ, but their essence is identical. Modern research confirms that habitual comparison reduces well-being and distorts empathy. Ibn Arabi reframes envy and shame as cognitive mistakes, forgetting that individuality is not deviation from unity but its vehicle. Every difference you judge in yourself or others may simply be the universe exploring a new angle of its own perfection. The third foundation, the illusion of lack. The ego is the mind's self-image, projected into time, necessary but not ultimate. It mistakes its boundaries for reality and perceives separation as deficiency. Neuroscience explains this through the default mode network, which constantly narrates me. When overactive, it generates the chronic sense of not enough. Ibn Arabi describes this as the mirror forgetting that the reflection is not independent. When awareness localizes in the ego, it experiences absence. The cure is not suppression but recognition. Even the feeling of lack reveals divine attributes. Patience, forgiveness, and compassion all arise only through imperfection. Emotion is information. What you call imperfection is the context through which divine qualities come into visibility. The fourth foundation, recognition as worship. True worship is not performance, but witnessing. Awareness itself is devotion. A tree glorifies God by being a tree. You serve the divine by seeing your essence clearly and living it fully. Mindfulness research shows that non-judgmental awareness integrates emotion with regulation, reducing anxiety and enhancing coherence. To perceive your inherent worth is not pride, but praise. Perception itself becomes prayer. If the divine is infinite, then even weakness, limitation, and error must exist within its totality. Imperfection is not a negation of divinity, but its necessary expression in form. Even optical illusions reveal how vision works. Human flaws reveal how awareness learns. Compassion is born from pain, humility from failure, forgiveness from imperfection. To reject your flaws is to reject the very field through which divine knowledge manifests. Perfection is not flawlessness, but completeness, the inclusion of opposites held within one awareness. Spiritual practice, then, is not about earning worth, but recognizing structure. When self-criticism arises, label it as a mental event, not a truth. Reframe it. This sense of lack is contrast, revealing another quality. This reappraisal calms the brain's threat circuits and turns guilt into curiosity. Choose one divine attribute, wisdom, patience, mercy, and reflect daily on how it manifests through and toward you. This builds identity rooted in values, not performance. Separate intrinsic worth from conditional worth. What you are, alive, aware, capable of love, precedes what you achieve. In Sufi practice, muraqabah means vigilant awareness of divine presence. Sit in silence. Attend to breath. On the in-breath, note given. On the out-breath, returned. Existence becomes a continuous exchange with the source. Signs of progress include reduced rumination, faster recovery from natural gratitude, and ethical steadiness. This is stillness of the soul, not inertia, but equilibrium. Ibn Arabi's message dissolves one of humanity's deepest illusions, that worth must be earned. Existence itself is divine activity. Your being is where the infinite recognizes itself in finite form. Imperfection completes that truth. Modern psychology and neuroscience confirm the same principle. Self-acceptance restores integration and coherence. Awareness restructures the brain toward stability and compassion. You do not earn divine sufficiency through performance. You perceive it through clarity. Growth is not accumulation, but removal, polishing the mirror, until reflection is recognized as light. You are already enough for God, not because you have achieved perfection, but because existence itself could not contain you if you were not already His reflection. To live from that realization is not arrogance. It is lucidity, the quiet confidence of knowing that being is worship and awareness is gratitude.